Shalom, 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 shalom. My name is YAH. I'm with Savior Word of YAH, Tabernacles of the Congregation of Yisrael. We are our weekly Bible study every fourth day. And the topic for our discussion today and for our study is entitled World Wars and Rumors. World Wars and Rumors. So as we've all seen in the press, this propaganda and this so-called world war that's coming up on the forefront with Russia and this Ukraine situation has now taken center stage. The so-called pandemic is now took a back seat. It's all about this war. But what we have to understand is that what is to be is to be. We are living literally in Bible times. People like to say that, Bible times are over, but we're living in prophetic times. These things, the major events, as well as the major leaders, all these things are put into place with principalities and powers that are ruling, that are controlling these people and bringing forth these events. So what we have to do is, a lot of people are panicking now because, they really don't understand Bible prophecy, but they see the posts and they see what's on TV and the scare and the fear tactics that, oh my goodness, World War III is getting ready to pop off and what do I do? And when you don't know what's going on from a biblical standpoint, then you turn to the TV. The TV gonna keep you scared. So what we want to do today is kind of take a look at, why they're saying that this is going to be, World War III, why this is so significant with Russia and Ukraine, and what does the word actually say? When we dip into prophecy, we have to understand that, we see things through a dim light, through a shadowy glass. So we don't see the full thing. These are just a shadow of things to come. So all we can do is take the things that are written as a constant and go ahead and put our faith in those things, and all the details will be worked out. But if the end of the day, if I know that the Super Bowl is coming on Sunday, and the people that created the Super Bowl said that the Los Angeles Rams are going to win, that's what's going to happen. The Los Angeles Rams are going to win. Now, all the details in between, we can sit here and try to figure those things out. But at the end of the day, what is the end game? What is the main thing that's going to happen? So before we get into it and start getting into the class, I just wanted to go over a few perspectives on this. One thing we know for sure is that the media is owned by the 1%. It's a few companies that own all the media around the world, and the media around the world is pretty much all saying the same thing. The same people that are on the same side, that are on the same team, are all saying the same thing, that Russia is this big bully coming in here and just trying to steal democracy or demonocracy or whatever the case may be. And we got to stop this guy. This is the same story that they said with Libya. This is the same story they're saying with Iran, same story they're saying with China, the same story they're saying with anybody that does not want to get with this westernized, backward, matriarchal system. Anybody that speaks against that, then all of a sudden you're set up as this horrible person. Now, am I co-signing Putin? Absolutely not. I'm not. He's not my nation, and I don't know too much about him. But I know about this country, and I know about the captivity that I'm in, and I know about the media, and I know about the lies, and I know about how they operate, and I know what the word says about these people that are in position of power. This synagogue of Satan. I know what the word says. So that's all I need to know. I don't need to know all the details. But understand this, if mainstream media is all saying the same thing, and all trying to make it like it's the worst thing in the world understand that they're 99.99999% chance lying. So let's take a look at what some of the other people are saying around the world that are not in this whole NATO situation. And coincidentally enough, these are all the same people that United States is destabilizing and trying to attack from within and attack with propaganda. So I'm gonna pull up the screen and we're gonna look at RT. RT is pretty much Russian or German controlled, so it's European. I believe it's Russian. So they're going to give you a different perspective. But let's just see, what these perspectives are. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to look at some articles real quick. And we're just going to read a little bit of information. We're not going to go too deep into it, but just to get a gist of what they're saying. All right, so let me go ahead and pull up the screen. Let's start with Iran. We're gonna start and see what Iran is saying about this whole situation that's going on. All right, so let me screen share. Where is it? No, that's not it. I don't know why it's not coming up. Bear with me 1 second. When I pull this up. All right. I'm trying to pull up this article and screen share if it'll allow me to. There we go. All right, so this is on RT, and this says Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah, weighs in on root cause of Ukrainian crisis. So let's see what he says. He says, the supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei, claims that Ukraine fell victim to American policies aimed at creating crises around the globe. So we have been caught, and a lot of this evidence has been declassified of how we go into other nations. Powers that be that run this country will go into other nations and destabilize it, start wars, do all kind of things. The same thing we see here when we see these race riots and we see these big protests. You see an organization come in that's usually governmental or corporate and start problems, start fires, start wars, start shooting, start destroying property, and then people follow suit. So this is known, this is proven, this is not a conspiracy theorist. They've been caught. This stuff, you can go Google, you can go look at WikiLeaks, you can see the paperwork. The FBI is even, and the CIA is even declassified some of this stuff. So this is Iran's take. Now, keep in mind, Iran is supposed to be the big bad bully that's trying to get all these nuclear weapons to destroy the world. But yet, United States got nuclear weapons. They don't want Russia to have nuclear weapons, but they won't mess with Russia because they know Russia got that heat. They don't want to mess with Russia. So they got to do all this propaganda. So this is what Iran is saying. So that's just Iran. So let's see what China has to say. All right, so this is on the same website, rt.com. The China comments on Western sanctions against Russia. Now, China, again, they don't want to beef with China because China got too many people. China is the only country in the world that could literally occupy America. They have enough people. The only people that could really take over a country are people that have enough people to occupy that country. This is why Russia got this 70-mile-long convoy heading that way. You got to have enough people to occupy the place if you want to have control. So China, the Chinese foreign minister said on Monday that it opposes the use of unilateral sanctions to resolve the crisis in Ukraine after Russia's decision to launch an attack on the country with the stated goal to demilitarize it. Western powers have announced a raft of punitive measures, including on the Russian economy and its banking sector. So the United States has got with all their little partners this coalition and this crafty council to go ahead and put sanctions on anybody that that they can't just go in there and destroy. So they put sanctions on them. So they put little bans on their being able to trade. They mess with any business people that are from the area that probably have nothing to do with it. They'll put sanctions on people. So this is what the United States does. So the Chinese foreign minister spokesman Wang, we've been told a regular news briefing that sanctions will not solve problems, but will create new ones. He claimed that sanctions will interfere with the process of reaching a ceasefire and a political agreement to end the conflict. So when you say there's two people got beef and you automatically take the side of one person and start fining the other person, how you expect to get some kind of peace out of that? No, you picking a side. You saying, no, I'm with them and you better stop or else. Listen, ain't no other alpha male gonna respond to that. He's gonna buck up. So are you really looking for peace? Absolutely not. They're not looking for peace. How you know they're not looking for peace? Look at our economy. Our economy is struggling, hurting. So what do we do when our economy is hurting? We go to war, we start a war so we can produce more items and we can print out more money and make money. And the rich get richer, the poor go out and get killed, and the powers that be, they survive. So China's calling that bluff. China knows this ain't gonna cause no peace talks. This is gonna cause a war, which China don't want. China don't want to get in a war either. All right, and let's see. Let's go on. The next list of people that United States don't mess with, Venezuela, which they just went through a similar thing where the Westerners have come into their place and destabilized it to the point where their economy's crashing. So Venezuela's Maduro gives his take on Russian-Ukraine conflict. Now, keep in mind, these are all the people USA don't mess with. United States don't like these people. So how coincidental that the people that don't deal with United States have a different perspective. Now, I'm not saying one is right, the other one is wrong. I'm just saying I know what I've experienced being here in this country and my people have experienced. All right, so Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has accused US and NATO countries of destabilizing Eastern Europe and launching a campaign of lies and disinformation regarding the Russian-Ukraine conflict. So again, it's the same thing. He's letting you know they destabilizing Europe. Why? Because they want power. Is it a US thing? No, this is a central banking thing. This is the private banking sector thing that's going on. Those are the people that really run the world. Countries are kind of just like pieces on the board, like a game piece. The people that's moving the game piece, that's the real people. That's who's really running it. That's the banks that are loaning money to all those other banks. That's who's really running things. And when you're not participating and they trying to crash everything so they can usher in this new system where they can take effect, you can't hide your money no more. It's digital. So they know every dime you spend and they can tax it. In order to get us there, they got to centralize. They got to get everybody on the same thing. So these other people that are not necessarily cooperating, these other countries, they calling it out. That doesn't mean that these are great countries or these are good leaders or nothing like that. Nah, they just calling it out. They calling a spade a spade. All right, now the last one we're going to go to is Mexico. Mexico not messing with none of these sanctions. Mexico President Lopez Obrador says his country will not take part in trying to punish Moscow over its attack on Ukraine. How are you just going to not just automatically place judgment? What happened to a trial? What happened to seeing both sides? Oh, no, you're just going to automatically put sanctions. You're going to automatically start to judge, which is going to automatically follow up with a war, right? Well, Mexico ain't having it. Mexico said we won't be taking part in the international pile-on to sanction Russia over its invasion of Ukraine. As President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador has said, he seeks to keep his country on peaceful terms with all nations. How do I expect to have peace with you if I'm fining you? If I'm cutting you off, I'm saying I'm not dealing with you. We're not finna have no peace. You my enemy. So anybody who's trying to have peace is saying, nah, there's got to be another way to work this out. I'm not saying, hey, let them go take over Ukraine. That's not what none of these countries are saying. But they're saying there's got to be a better way, because the way you're going about is not going to bring peace. So that's just what I wanted to show you very quickly, is just to go over a few things just so you can see what's going on. And you're right, Darnell. It's smokescreen. They ain't got no money. They ain't got no money to fight. They got to produce all these things. So these are just so that you're not stuck in this propaganda where you're basically only seeing what mainstream media is showing you. And RT is mainstream media, so I'm not acting like we got some special source. You got to take things for a grain of salt. But always, as Hebrews, we seek diligently into a matter before we judge. So before we can judge this matter, we got to seek diligently to what's really going on. But understand, for us to seek diligently and truly understand what's going on, we got to get in our books. We got to get in our prophecy, our scriptures, so we can see what's really going on in the world, because there's too much smoke screen going on. So let's get right into it. So we're going to open up in Daniel chapter 2. Daniel chapter 2, and we're going to start that at verse 20. And we're just going to get an idea of who's really running things, because man will go out his way to flex, to make it look like he running things. The devil has got you believing that he running things. He not running things. He only doing what YAH allows him to do. YAH created light, and he allowed darkness. He allowed evil. All right, so we're at Daniel chapter 2, and we're going to start this at verse 20, and we're going to only read 3 verses. Daniel chapter 2 and verse 20. Daniel answered and said, "Blessed be the name of YAH forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changes the times and the season." So, we talk about how Rome, how the Romans, how they're supposed to be changing the times. No, YAH changed the time and seasons. He allowed that stuff. So even if a man physically does that or changes something, YAH is the one who's in control. So YAH changes the times and the season. He removes kings. So while the American government and the United Nations feel like they the ones removing kings, you ain't removing anything. YAH removes kings. So if you're able to successfully dethrone somebody, it's because YAH removed them. YAH wanted them removed. And he sets up kings and gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. So if YAH is setting up kings, who are we to speak against them? Who are we to say, oh, we got to get rid of Trump? Oh, he's so horrible. Really? Well, who set Trump up? Now, we know physically who might have set him up, but who spiritually set him up? Who put him in power? Who prophesied him? The creator of all, he who sets up kings. So while he sets up kings, he sets them up for his will, whatever his will is for that country in that time. Verse 21, and he gives wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. He reveals the deep and secret things. He knows what is in the darkness, and light dwells with him. So YAH knows what's going on. That's how they think that they can go ahead and have all these lies and put all this stuff on TV and monopolize every channel and every movie and every advertisement, and think that the saints ain't gonna know what's going on. That ain't gonna happen. YAH gives us wisdom. He tells us these things in advance. Nothing happens in this earth without him telling his servants, the prophets, first. And the prophets are our people. They are our nation of the children of Yasharal. So he gave us the answers. We got to trust his answers and stop leaning on their stuff. And first and foremost, we shouldn't be panicking. We got to understand where we are scripturally and prophetically and not panic. Replace panic with preparation. If you weren't already preparing, if you weren't already seeing what's going on with the food, with the stick that they're giving us, with this so-called economy, if you're not seeing what's going on and you ain't preparing, you panicking because you think a World War III about to pop off with Russia, that ain't finna do nothing for you. You can't, if we get into some kind of war and the system crashes, you can't go out there and plant right now and then tomorrow you got food. You got to prepare in advance. So again, don't let the media, don't let memes and all this stuff get you scared that you're panicking. No, this is preparation. This is a praise Yah moment. As we break down this scripture, we're able, in this prophecy, we're able to see we are getting closer to that time. All right, so we got some comments here. Brother Darnell Haynes said, the sun from the east is coming to save us from the west. The earth is replenishing itself, so that means we are also going through a conscious spiritual change. The fake European hybrid fake Jews, the time is up. The sun and the ancestors are coming to free us from these devil. They can't handle the sun. Absolutely. And you spelled it S-U-N. And I see it more as S-O-N, less than, a physical sun. But yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. These people that are in control, their time is up. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the world that comes after. And we are the gods and goddesses of this earth. We are the mighty ones, with the Most High being the most mighty. Praise Yah. So let's move on. We're going to go to Romans chapter 9. So again, Yah sets up kings and removes kings. Romans chapter 9. Absolutely, we people of the sun, my brother. I don't argue with that. Melanin is nothing but liquid sunlight. There's a melanocyte, literally. Melanin is liquid sunlight. Evaporated melanin is sun. It's sunlight. So absolutely, I don't disagree with you, my brother. All right, so Romans chapter 9. Romans chapter 9, and we're going to read verses 13 through 23. All right, so again, Yah sets up these kings and removes them in the earth. For what purpose? For his will, for his purpose. Remember, thy will be done. Romans chapter 9, Ramim chapter 9 and verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Now, where is this written? It's written in the Old Testament. It's written in our book. So yeah, Yah does hate. He does hate. But maybe the God in your mind loves you and hates anything that you hate, but not the God of this Bible. Romans 9 and 14. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with Yah? Yah forbid. For he said to Moshe, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So people say, oh, that's unfair. I did the same thing this person did, but I got punished. Well, Yah is the only one that can judge man's heart. He knows man's heart. You think you know your heart. You think you know your friend's heart or the wicked person's heart. It says the heart is exceedingly deep. Who can understand it? You can't even understand your own heart. So Yah, the creator, knows what he created. He knows what he created for good and what he allowed for evil. So he's going to judge and he's going to have compassion on that. And if anybody is going to make that decision, you want him to make that decision because it's going to be righteous and perfect. Verse 16. So then it's not of him that wills, nor of him that runs, but YAH that shows mercy. For the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised you up. So he raised up Pharaoh and made him king of the earth. And how did he raise up Pharaoh? He raised up Pharaoh by allowing Pharaoh to take over, by allowing him to dominate the Pharaoh that was there before, that was friends with the children of Yasharal, because there was something different to come. Verse 17, for the scripture says unto Pharaoh, even for the same purpose have I raised you up, that I might show my power in you, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. This is why Rahab was in Jericho saying, oh man, we heard of you. You took down Egypt. Your God is the greatest. Oh, but how would she have known about that if we didn't take down the greatest superpower on the earth, which was Mizraim, Egypt at the time? All things are for his purpose. You got to trust his will. Verse 18, therefore has he mercy on whom he will, and will have mercy on whom he will. He hardens. You will say then unto me, why does he yet find fault? For who has resisted his will? Nay, but old man, who are you that replies against YAH? Shall a thing formed say to him that formed it, why has you made me thus? And this is what you see often in a lot of non-believers. A lot of non-believers and atheists don't believe because they got their feelings hurt. So, oh, he can't be the God of this Bible because my feelings got hurt. I lost of somebody. We all done lost people, especially these past few years. We all done lost people. We done lost in and out of the word. Elders in this word, people out of the word, young babies, we've all lost. But for you to sit here and question the Most High like he got an answer to you, or I got to prove the Most High to you. No, I'm not going to prove the Most High to you. Now, if you got legitimate questions because you see inconsistencies, if you come in humility, yeah, we'll help you. But am I going to prove the Most High to you? Absolutely not. Have not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? Did he not make the menorah gold and the candles wax so that it goes out? But you need both. You can't light the gold. The gold ain't going to light forever. So he has the power to make what he wants. Vessels for honor to last forever, like the menorah, the golden menorah that will last forever. And the candle, which has its purpose to burn and give off heat and light. Verse 22, what if YAH, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? And that's what he's doing right now. He's enduring with long suffering these vessels of wrath. He already knows they fit for destruction, but he has them just like the candle burns for a period of time. When we don't need it, we blow it out. Verse 23, and that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto glory. So again, YAH sets up these kings and removes them, and he allows these unhonorable, dishonorable vessels to do what they do in the earth so he can show his power. So we're going to get to a little bit of what he's doing in the earth with these different powers, with the United States, with the Iraq, Iran, Russia, Ukraine, China, all these different countries. And all those countries are ancient countries. These are ancient countries that are in that Bible in Genesis chapter 10, which we're going to read a little bit as well. They're all in the Bible except this place where we're at. This place is not in Genesis chapter 10. So it was created for a different reason. And that's why this place is going to be destroyed and uninhabited. Because it says in there, doesn't it say that everybody going to go back to their land in the end? Well, if nobody come from this land, who going back to this land? Everybody going to their land. That's another reason why this place is going to be destroyed and uninhabited. All right, so let's move on. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 15, Bereshit chapter 15. Going back into this 400-year prophecy because everything is happening right on schedule. Everything that we've been telling you over these past 3 years, over the past 20 years for my elder, at least the past 4 or 5 years for me, all these things are coming to pass. Genesis chapter 15. Again, we are now in the time of the judgment of the nations. Judgment of all the nations that have the children of Israel, and the children of Judah are on the four corners of the earth. But who holds the majority of Judah? United States. Genesis chapter 15 and verse 13. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety, that means for sure, for sure, that your seed, Hebrews, Israelites, shall be a stranger in a land that's not theirs. Again, this land, United States, is not ours. This is not our land. We're not indigenous to this land. Everybody migrated here. And shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. It's been nothing but affliction for us. From 1619, when we got here as indentured servants, as slaves, what they call undocumented migrant workers is what they're trying to change it to now. When we got here, 1619 to 2019 was 400 years. So this was our judgment. This is why this nation was set up, so that we could have this judgment, so that we could, the house of David could receive the judgment for their role in breaking YAH's covenant. Verse 14, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. Well, guess what? We served all these nations. But who's the leader of all the nations? You got it. The good old stars and bars. Right. Will I judge. Also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. Judgment is happening. This country is being torn apart. The economy is being torn apart. We got war getting ready to brew on every corner. All of this for this point here. And afterward shall they come out with great substance. Now you got to understand, when a judgment is placed, when you get a death penalty, they don't just take you and shoot you in the back of the head, take you on behind the court and just shoot you. You go to jail, you go to death row. America on death row. Don't mistake that. They on death row. Their time is coming. It's already been issued. It's already been given. The judgment is here, and we're in that period now, that judgment period. So again, after this judgment period is over, then we're going to be out of here with great substance. So this is why all these things are happening right now. This is why we're getting all these wars and rumors of wars. Let's go to Matthew 24. Matthew 24. And we're going to read 1 through 28. Matthew chapter 24, and we're going to go 1 through 28. And YAH went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple. So it's just to show you how we are. We are always so ready to look at a building. Look at this wonderful structure, how good we're doing. And YAH said unto them, see you not all these things? For sure, I say unto you, there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of your coming and the end of the age? Now, when they keep saying end of the world, the end of the Gentile world, the end of their rule. This is the Gentile rule going on with this church period. The end of the age. All right. And if you look at the Greek in there, it's age, eon or whatever. Verse 24. Excuse me. Verse 4. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. So he's letting you know there's going to be a lot of deception. There's going to be a whole deception pertaining to. There's going to be a lot of deception pertaining to a destruction of Jerusalem and who's involved and who is Jerusalem and who is the people of Jerusalem. And there's going to be a lot of deception of the return of Mashiach, and there's going to be a lot of deception of the end of the age, the end of the world. He's letting you know there's going to be a lot of deception. And that's why you got to kind of diversify when you're looking at news articles, because there's a lot of deception. Verse 5, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am anointed, I am the Mashiach, and shall deceive many. And that's all those religious leaders that say they the one, they the special one. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled. So he lets you know, don't be troubled by these things. Don't be stressed out. Don't be losing sleep and fearful, because you know what's coming. You know that this is judgment on these nations that enslaved our people of the tribes and all the nations that took crafty counsel. We know it's their judgment. They gonna deal with each other, because he says in the end of verse 6, for all these things must come to pass, but the end of the age is not yet. So these wars and rumors of wars are going to happen, and that's what we're seeing. As long as I've been alive, there's been wars and rumors of war, Cold War, and oh no, the doomsday clock and all this food. Now, they can't tell you nothing. At the end of the day, it's prophecy. All of this is prophecy. So these wars and rumors of wars, tranquilo, calm down, chill. We already got, we got the script. We know the writer, director, producer, the executive. We know him. He gave us the script. They lose. Israel wins. Calm yourself. But now you don't want to act according to your script. You don't want to act according to scripture. Then you know what happens to you as well. So that's why we're really scared, is because we don't want to follow the script. If we follow the script and we keep reading and we follow it, guess what? We're going to see, hey, we do well. And they can't even write everything in the script that we're going to experience, because it says eyes have never seen, ears have not heard. You can't even imagine the goodness that he has for those that wait on him and trust him. Verse 5, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Mashiach, and shall deceive many. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled. All these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Notice that nation verse nation, that's singular. But it's saying famines and pestilences. So they're letting you know there's going to be a lot of famines and a lot of pestilences. But it's telling you nation will rise against nation, because there's a new nation arising right now. And this old kingdom versus this new kingdom that's rising. So you have the nation of Yisrael, the believers, the believing nation, and all those that are going to fall under the umbrella. of the believers, of the Hebrews, and you have the rest of the world that's falling under the devil's nationality. And you have all those that are under the dominion of the King of Kings, Mashiach, and the creator of all, YAH, the Most High. That's his kingdom. All those that are in dominion of him versus Satan's kingdom, which is all those that will do as you will, that are under the dominion of the adversary, the devil. The devil say, go do wickedness. You under his dominion. That's what's left. There's only two choices. Verse 8, all these are beginning of sorrows. All these earthquakes and famines and these plagues and stuff that's going on all over the world, it's just the beginning. But guess what? He said, no weapon formed against you will prosper. That don't mean you're not going to get hurt. You're not going to lose some people. You're not going to, have a humble and contrite spirit because, you're being chastened during this time. No, that don't mean that it ain't going to happen. But that just means it's not going to change how things are supposed to be. If you are a part of his kingdom and of his nation, you are going to make it. Verse 9, then they shall deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nation for my name's sake. So again, all those that fall under the character of Mashiach, not under the character of democracy. Hey, we've all voted that we're going to do this. All those people are going to be afflicted. They're going to try to kill you because you're not getting with the consensus. You're not getting with the popular vote. You're not getting with the safe route. Verse 10, and then many shall be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise and deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So since there's going to be so much chaos and wickedness in the world, many people are going to just look, I was only being loving because, it wasn't acceptable to not be loving. Well, now it's everybody being wicked, so I can be who I really am, wicked. And those that were holding on and fighting the wickedness, if they don't endure, they're going to allow that love that's in them to wax cold, and they're going to start participating in those activities. And that's why it says in verse 13, but he that shall endure unto the end, hold on to the love of this world, of this word, the light of this world. If you hold on to that, then you shall be saved. And the good news of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nation, and then the end shall come. So while the big stand happens and everybody's choosing to go down this wide path to destruction, somebody has to stand up. Somebody has to stand up, and then they have to go ahead and stand against this wickedness. So that is us. We stand up against this wickedness. And in standing up against this wickedness is how we preach this good news into the whole world for a witness. And this is part of that witnessing right now that we're doing. Charlene, I'm in a Bible study. I have to call you back. So we're part of this witnessing. We're standing against this wickedness. We're standing against the common consensus to go with whatever mainstream media says. That's what we're doing. And actually, we want to go ahead and stop this at verse 14. So these wars and rumors of wars, this is all has to be. We have to focus on standing on the right side of prophecy and speaking the truth, while the rest of the world is speaking propaganda and speaking lies. So let's move on. Let's go to Genesis chapter 10. Let's start to look at who Russia is and these nations that are playing right now. Genesis chapter 10. Genesis chapter 10. And we're just going to read verses 1 through 5. Genesis chapter 10, and we're going to read 1 through 5. Bereshit, Genesis chapter 10 and verse 1. Now, this chapter is, like I said, where they table all the nations of the earth. So all the bloodlines that are in the earth come from these nations here. Anything outside of that is doctrine. Because here it tells you that Shem, Ham, Japheth are those who populated, the three brothers who populated the whole earth after the flood. Nobody else lived of man's bloodline after the flood. So any doctrine that goes to bloodlines prior to Shem, Ham, and Japheth and says those bloodlines are causing the problems in the earth, that's not accurate. You're going directly against scripture. Now, these are the generations of the son of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Yavan, and Tubal, and Meshach, and Tyrus. All right, so let's take a look at that real quick. So Japheth, this is the European nations and some of the Asian nations. All right, these are the sons of Japheth. These are the sons that at some given point lost melanin. Now, how that happened, and that's a whole nother story. But at some point, these were all people of melanin complexion. Because if your father was melanin, your mother was melanin, you're going to be melanin. And if you have albinoism, you're not going to have a whole nation of albinoism. You're going to have a son that's albino, and then his son might be albino, but somebody going to have some melanin. All right, so the sons of Japheth, again, Gomer, which I believe is like Germany, Magog, of Gog and Magog, that's who we believe and understand is the people that were in the USSR, which they call Russia. Those countries over there that made up Russia. Now, Russia now is not what Russia used to be. It is smaller. These other nations used to be part of the USSR. Magog is one of those nations. And we believe Russia is Magog, Gog and Magog. And Mayday is the Medes, or the same group or area. They say Central Asia is what they describe it. Kyrgyzstan and all these are all part of the USSR. That's right next to China. China and Russia is right next to each other. That's why as you start to get in Central Asia, where you're right next to Russia and all that area, you start to see European looking people with Asian type eyes. All right. So that's, and it says, and Yavan is Greece, and Tubal, Meshach, and Tyrus. All right. And it says, verse 3, the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, with Germany, and Rephath and Torgamah. And it says the sons of Javan, the sons of Greece, is Elisha, Tarshish, which is Spain, Kittim, which are the Romans and the Greeks, and Dodanim. By these were the isles of the Goyim, Gentiles, divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, in their nations. Now, a doctrine that was taught for quite some time is that the Gentiles are these European nations alone, because it says the isle of the Gentiles. Well, if you look at that word for Gentiles, it's just Goyim. It's the same word used at the end of that same verse in verse 5, where it says in their nations, it says in Goyim. When it talks about the children of Israel, it says the nation of Israel, use Goyim or Goy. That's just a Hebrew word. But why all the other nations are called Gentiles, are called the nations, because you have Yah's nation, Israel, and the nations. That's where that came from. But the doctrine that they try to create with that is saying that, oh, the Gentiles are just these European nations. No, that's Japheth. So now, when we start to get into that, where it talks about Gog and Magog, or the Medes, you got an idea of that area that they're talking about, which is over there by Ukraine and Russia and Kyrgyzstan and all those weird countries. I can't even pronounce their names. Let's go to Ezekiel 38. Let's see a little bit about this Magog. We're going to go to Ezekiel 38, and we're going to look at what they got to say about Magog. Prophecy against Gog and Magog. That's what we're going to take a look at. All right, so we're at Ezekiel chapter 38, and we're going to start that at verse 1. And the word of YAH came unto me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against them. So they're talking about that European, Asian area over there. And say, thus says Adonai Elohim, behold, I am against you, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. So when they talk about the chief prince, the chief principality, the chief power, the angel that's over that nation. These nations, again, we read that in previous classes, have evil angels to lead them away from the children of Yah. Period. The children of Israel, to carry out their orders. Verse 4. And I will turn you back and put hooks into your jaws, and I will bring you forth, and all your army, and horses and horsemen, and all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So just like he did Pharaoh, he put hooks in Pharaoh's jaws where he could not repent. Despite his country being destroyed, his nation being torn apart with plagues, and his own people saying, let these brothers go. He could not repent because, again, Yah sets up these kings with a certain type of heart to do the job that he needs them to do so he can show his might and his power. All right, so not only Gog and Magog, not only the Europeans, he said, verse 5, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. So it's letting you know it's a world war. It ain't just going to be Russia. It's going to be a world war. And who else? Gomer and all his bands. So now you're dealing with the Russians again. Excuse me. Now you're dealing with Germany and all his bands, the house of Torgama of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with you. And notice when we read earlier, the sons of Gomer, it said Ashkenaz. Ashkenaz are the Ashkenazi Jews, the Khazarians. When you ask them what kind of Jew they are, they tell you they Ashkenazi because they know they from that part of Europe. And that lets you know that they are of the seed of Japheth. They are not Hebrews. They're not Hebrews, much less Israelite. You can't even be an Israelite if you ain't a Hebrew. And they ain't even Hebrew. Verse 7. Be you prepared and prepare for yourself, you and all your company that are assembled unto you, and be you a guard unto them. Verse 8, after many days you shall be visited. In the latter years you shall come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, against the government, the power, the house of David of Israel, which have been always waste. Because again, where's our leadership? Where is the house of David? We've been in waste, but is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. You shall ascend and come like a storm. You shall be like a cloud to cover the land, you and all your bands and many people with you. Thus says the Adonai Elohim, it shall also come to pass that at that same time shall things come into your mind, and you shall think an evil thought. So now we have to understand, when is this prophecy talking about? It's talking about, mainly talking about in the end, when the devil convinces everybody with Gog and Magog to come against the children of Israel. It's talking about that time, but it's also talking about that nation, what it does, that it comes against the children of Israel. They know, they understand the prophecy as well. So they know that in the end, they're going to come against this new revived children of Yasharal that are ruling the world now, and they are going to lose. Then what is any military mind going to do? They're going to try to come against the children of Israel before we get empowered by Mashiach. And that's what these little wars are about right now. That's what World War II was. This is why Hitler was searching for the God gene in the children of Israel and killing off the race traitors, which he knew were not the children of Israel. Verse 10. Thus says the Adonai Elohim, it shall come to pass that at the same time shall things come into your mind, and you shall think an evil thought. And you shall say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn your hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. So this is talking about the children of Israel once we are regathered and put back in our land. And you're going to have the jealousy of all the other nations. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish with all young lions thereof shall say unto you, are you come to take a spoil? Has you gathered your company to take a prey, to carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to take a great spoil? Therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto God, thus says the Adonai Elohim, and that day when my people of Yasharal dwell safely, you shall know it. And shall it come from your place out of north parts, you and many people with you, all of them riding upon horses, a great company and a mighty army. All you shall come against my people of Yasharal as a cloud to cover the land. It shall be in the latter days. And I will bring against my land that the heathen may know me when I shall be sanctified in you, O Gog, before their eyes. So that's Russia, Gog and Magog and the Medes and all them in the latter and the end. After you have the 1,000 years of peace and the devil is released, these same nations which are in their land, because everybody goes back to their land, America already destroyed. That's why I ain't talking about Babylon no more. It's talking about Israel, because America is already destroyed. Then these Russians going to come up against the children of Israel, and they're going to convince all the wicked nations, the wicked people in those nations, to come against the children of Israel. So that's where Russia is in prophecy, in that part. And they know it. They know it. And they know that they are also going to take part in the destruction of this country, of the American system, the American monarchy that's going on. They know they're the ones that's going to destroy that. And that's why everybody's all nervous right now. But where do we fit in the equation? We're going to be put back in our land. We just read that. And we read that also in Genesis chapter 15. After the judgment, we'll go back to our land in safety. So we don't got to worry about all this World War III stuff. That ain't for us. That's for them. We going back to our land. Verse 17. Thus says Adonai Elohim, are you he of whom I have spoken in old time by my servants, the prophets of Yasharal, was prophesied in those days many years that I would bring you against them? And it shall come to pass at the same time when God shall come against the land of Yasharal, says the Adonai Elohim, that my fury shall come up in my face. For my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath have I spoken. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Yasharal, so that the fishes of the sea and the fowls of heaven and the beasts of the field and all creeping things that creep upon the earth and all the men that are upon the face of the earth shall shake in my presence. And the mountains shall be thrown down, and the steep places shall fall, and every wall shall fall to the ground. And I will call for a sword against him throughout all my mountains and governments, says the Adonai Elohim. Every man's sword shall be against his brother. And I will plead against him with the pestilence and with the blood, and I will rain upon him and upon his bands and upon the many people that are with him, an overflowing rain and great hailstones, fire and brimstone. Thus will I magnify myself and sanctify myself, and I will be known in the eyes of many nations, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. So here it is. This is Gog and Magog. This is Russia again being spoken of in prophecy. But this is the far prophecy. This is the end prophecy. This is when it's all over. This is the final day of YAH, the final judgment. That's what that is. So Gog and Magog, these countries, these ancient nations, they know where they stand in prophecy. And they are doing what they can do in the earth to try to stop this from coming about. But they can't stop it. So while they're trying to stop it, they playing right into the prophecies of this Bible. So let's get into this prophecy of America. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 13. Isaiah, YAH, chapter 13. And we're going to look at Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, and the destruction that's coming. And that's what they fear. We can't fear the destruction of America because it's going to happen. We're not going to do it. We're not going to destroy America. This got nothing to do with us. But these other nations, if they come against us, we are Yah's battle axe. Once we get into our land, they come against us. We are his battle axe. We finna destroy. And if it's not us, the angels are finna destroy. All right, so Isaiah chapter 13. And we're going to start that at verse 1. Let me share the screen. YAH, chapter 13 and verse 1. The burden of Babylon, which YAH, the son of Amoz, did see. Lift you up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I've also called my mighty ones from mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahweh of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Howl you, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travails. They shall be amazed one in another. Their faces shall be as flames. That's them birth pains of us becoming a nation. And now when we are born, the fear. Behold, the day of Yahweh comes, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. So that's further in Genesis chapter 15, as you go down, when it says, and it became dark. That's that time. Verse 11. And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease. and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the gold wedge of Ophir. So Ophir is a place where in the continent of Africa where a lot of gold is found. And from my understanding, that's where Africa came from. Ophir, Ophir and Ika, the land of Ophir. All right. So it says a man is going to be precious like fine gold. This is why 7 women will take a hold of one man and say, look, we got money, we got raiment, we got clothes. Just give us your name. Just cover us. Give us a name, a house. Because we dead out here. Men are scarce. Gold is precious because it's scarce. You can't just walk and find it in your backyard. Verse 13. Therefore, I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of Yahweh's host in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chased roe, as the sheep that no man takes up. They shall every man turn to his own people and flee to his own land. So that's what I spoke about earlier. It says every man gonna flee to their own land. How nobody fleeing to America is being destroyed. It's the daughter of Babylon. It's being destroyed. Ain't nobody from here. This land was created for a purpose. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Everybody that joins to Babylon, to this confusion. Confusion is going out with Esau, and righteousness and truth is coming in and remaining with Yaakov, with Israel. So if you yoke yourself to these lies that they're giving you on television and giving you on social media, and giving you on the mainstream media, you will be destroyed with those lies. Now is the time to start making your covenant with truth and seeking the truth. You seek it, he's going to show it to you. We're not special. He showed it to us because we sought after it. Verse 16. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled and their wives ravished. Ain't that what happened to us? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Verse 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver. And as for gold, they shall not delight in it. These Medes that are coming up, these soldiers from that region over there in Central Asia and in Western Europe and all those people, oh yeah, they not caring about silver and gold. They coming here for a purpose. Verse 18, their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces and shall have no pity on the fruit of your womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, aka confusion, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency, shall be as when Yah overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And if you know anything about Sodom and Gomorrah, it ain't inhabited. It's a desertous land with sulfur that you can burn on the ground that'll literally catch a fire. That's what's going to happen to this Babylon. Now, if this was talking about Iraq, well, guess what? If this was talking about Iraq, then Iraq would look like that, right? Nah, Iraq don't look like that. It's inhabited. So they ain't Iraq. People actually come from Iraq. So where them people gonna go? They all gonna get destroyed? No, they going to their land. But this place, the daughter of Babylon, yeah, this place is being destroyed. And all the migrants, all the Western Europeans that came here when the land was locked, because literally Russia and Alaska is 18 kilometers apart. That's like 11 miles. So guess what? You can walk 11 miles. So when it was connected, guess what? They walked over here. That's how those people got here. That's how you got those white Native Americans got here. Or it's coincidental that those Eskimos over there in Alaska look a whole lot like the people over there coming from Western Europe. Look very similar. And those people look very similar to the white Native Americans because they walked over here. So all those people that are tribed up in these lands claiming that they are native people of this land, they not native. They migrated. They going back to their land. Just like the Africans and the Israelites that came here and occupied this land prior to the Europeans, they going back to their land. Verse 20, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. So these Arabians are the mixed people. They're not going to, Arab means mixed. Arabian are the mixed ones, mixed with this nation and that nation. They're not going to dwell in America no more. This is the melting pot. This is where the mixed people are. I'm part this, part that. Even me, I'm mixed. Part this, part that. Them people, they not going to dwell in this country no more. Verse 21, but wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there, because those are the ravenous creatures eating up all the dead and the decomposed bodies everywhere. They're going to do their job. And the wild beasts of the island shall cry in the desolate houses, and the dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So this is what everybody is afraid of. And again, this is what the Medes have to deal with. This is the modern day version. This is the current version. This is before you have Gog and Magog convince all the world to come against. This is them. Destruction that's going to be happening to this place here. So you can pray all you want for this place. It ain't finna change. That's why when people bringing up that Jeremiah quote about, oh, pray for the land and build houses, that's when we were in a land that was going to remain. This land ain't going to remain. This land finna be destroyed. And furthermore, we were the beginning of our captivity then. We at the end of our captivity. What I look like praying for the jailers that are jailing me to jail me even longer. That's ridiculous. Let prophecy be. Let Yah's will be done. Pray that the evil repent. Pray that the righteous endure. But don't pray for a land that's going to be destroyed. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 51. Jeremiah chapter 51. And we'll get more of this destruction that's going to happen. But understand and understand this. If we here, this place ain't going to be destroyed. While we here. Now, does that mean that we don't have to worry about getting out of here? No, you need to worry about getting up out of here. You need to find a way to prepare yourself to leave. And preparing yourself is more spiritual and mental than physical. Prepare yourself. You prepare yourself to prepare for the climate of the land that you're going into. The climate of the land we're going into is commandments. So we prepare for that by putting on our spiritual covering, which is to learn these laws, statutes, and commandments and have faith in Mashiach and to live our lives the way we're supposed to live. That's giving us the proper attire for that land. That's how we have to prepare for that place. Don't prepare to be here. We getting up out of here. But don't get it twisted. He said, all these in my hand, now one of them shall fall from my hand, except for the son of perdition, so the scripture could be fulfilled. So are you the son of perdition? If you ain't the son of perdition and you a believer, then you know Mashiach got us. All we have to do is follow his instructions. And it ain't going to be, oh man, I don't know what to do. It's going to be, I ain't got no choice. We got to get up out of here. They destroying this place, the place on fire. Here's our chance out. So don't worry, Israel. Jeremiah chapter 51. And we're going to read a few verses here. Let's start this at verse 1. Jeremiah chapter 51. And let's start this at verse 1. Thus says Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. So everybody that dwells in this place and are in the midst of this place, that are in this confusion, that are part of this confusion, and will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble, they shall be against her round about. Against him that bends, let the archer bend his bows. Against him that lifts himself up in his brigandine, and spare you not her young men, destroy you utterly all her hosts. And they just talked about who that is, the Medes. They not caring. They not caring about your young men or your old or your young or your babies or any of that stuff. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. For Yasharal has not been forsaken, nor Yahweh of his Alahim, of the Yahweh of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Yasharal. So Yehuda or Yasharal has not been forsaken. And so when you think they're going to go, you think this is talking about Iraq? Iraq ain't the ones that are mainly persecuting us or oppressing us. Iraq ain't really got nothing to do with me. Maybe the gas price, that's about it. So this ain't talking about the physical land of Babylon. This is talking about the ecclesiastical Babylon and the daughter of Babylon. Verse 6, flee out the midst of Babylon. So again, remember that it's talking about the midst of Babylon, the confusion, flee out the confusion of Babylon. And then notice up here, it says, I will send unto Babylon to destroy all those that are in Babylon and those that are dwell in the midst of them. In verse 1, I'll raise up against the confusion and all those that dwell in the midst of the confusion. They made a separation. So they're saying it's deeper than just being in the land. It's being part of the confusion of this land, being in the confusion of this land. You can be in the world, but not of the world. We in Babylon, but we don't have to be of Babylon. But if you in Babylon physically and of Babylon, you finna be destroyed. And when Babylon is physically destroyed, if you inside Babylon, you will be destroyed unless Yah remove you from it. Verse 6, flee out the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her sins, her lawlessness, her iniquity. For this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. So Yah is going to judge this land. He said, flee out the mist. If you can physically flee out of here, get up out of here. If you're stuck here for whatever reason, whether it's for felonies, can't get your passport, don't have the money, child support, lack of understanding, whatever the case may be, if you're stuck, then you need to seek how to flee from the midst of Babylon, flee from the confusion, learn the truth, seek obedience. That's the best thing you can do until you have the means to get up out of here. If you got the means to go, yeah, it's a good time to go. Verse 7, Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Well, we're not drinking Iraq. We're not following Iraq. And we ain't walking around with hijabs and all that type of stuff. This ain't talking about Iraq. Verse 8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own country. So here's second witness. We just read in Isaiah 13. Everybody finna go to their own country. Now you're hearing a whole different prophet telling you the same thing. Everybody going to their own country. So black descendant of the slave trade, where's your country? A whole continent? Pan-Africa is your country? The whole continent? Or Egypt? We all from Egypt. No. Let the Bible tell you who your country is. Prophecy will define who your country is. Prophecy defined that those people in that country that say they are Jews but are not, prophecy showed that they are not Jews. Prophecy said that you the only people in the world that fit Deuteronomy 28, that fit Genesis 15, that fit Ezekiel 37. We the only ones that fit that. We the only ones that fit Jeremiah chapter 23 will be cut off from our nationality and our heritage. Verse 9, for we would have healed Babylon, but she's not healed. Forsake us, forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. Lady Liberty, right? Her judgment. Yahweh have brought forth our righteousness. So who's our righteousness? Yahweh Shai. Mashiach, he's brought forth. And let us declare in Zion the work of Yahweh, our Elohim. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahweh have raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes. So he's letting you know who's coming to destroy. Once again, this is why people that got somewhat of an understanding of the Bible, they freaking out right now because they know who's coming to destroy this country. The Medes. For his device is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. Who did the Medes really want to destroy? Israel. But before they can get to Israel, they got to destroy their little big brother they hiding behind, which is United States. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes. For Yahweh had both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. O you that dwells upon many waters. Who dwells upon many waters? Who got all these bases everywhere? Not Russia, not Iraq. Iraq ain't over here with a base. America everywhere. And America want to set up that next base in Ukraine so they could be right there next to Russia. Because they know who coming to destroy them. And they know who going to work with them. Iran. That's why Iraq and Iran got the most military bases right around them. So this is what this colonizer does. He sets himself up. He does the same thing over and over. That's why all these ancient nations were like, man, you're a baby. You only been here a few hundred years. And we've watched how you operate. And furthermore, we know who set you up. We know who the powers are behind you that set you up in this country. Verse 13, O you that dwells upon many waters, abundant in treasures, your end is come, and the measure of your covetousness. Who's the only nation that is ending? America, this place. Every other nation going to their own nation. And who's the controller of this? Esau. Esau is being destroyed. Verse 14. Yahweh of hosts has sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill you with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against you. He hath made the earth by his power. He hath established the world by his wisdom, and has stretched out the heaven by his understanding. When he utters his voice, there's a multitude of waters in the heavens, and he causes the vapor to ascend from the ends of the earth. He makes lightnings with rain and bring forth the wind out of his treasure. Every man is brutish by his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image, for his molten image is falsehood, and there's no breath in them. They are vanity, the work of errors. In the time of their visitation, they shall perish. So all these idols that they set up, whether it's an idol god or it's some equipment or person they standing behind, they think that is going to save them at the time of visitation, all of those things are going to be destroyed. Verse 19, but the portion of Yaakov is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Yasharal is the rod of his inheritance. Yahweh of hosts is his name. You are my battle axe and weapons of war, for with you will I break in pieces the nations, and with you will I destroy kingdoms. Now, do we physically have to go in there and fight in our land? Maybe. These other lands, nah, we ain't gotta do that. But guess what? When those other nations come against us, they gonna get destroyed because Yah gonna fight for us. Yeah, we might be physically fighting, but it's Yah that's doing the work. The angels that are gonna do the fighting. And with you will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with you will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With you will I also break in pieces man and woman, and with you will I break in pieces old and young, and with you will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. And how we are breaking into pieces is also metaphoric, that we going to break away the old man and show you the new man and allow you to be part of the kingdom of Yah. When you kill that old man and make your alliance with the Most High Yah. All right, so let's go to the conclusion. Let's go to Revelation 18. Revelation 18 for the conclusion. So this is why these are the prophecies that we just went over, are the prophecies of why people are so scared. Because everybody knows that Russia is the one, or the USSR, the old Federation, that whole area are the ones that are prophesied to come destroy. Nikita Khrushchev, he's the one at United Nations that made a speech, and you can Google it, you can look it up, you can see the videos in black and white. And he banged his foot and said, man, we prophesied to destroy you. They knew they know who they are. This is well before us. Revelation chapter 18. We're going to do Revelation chapter 18 for the conclusion. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon, the great is fallen, is fallen. Now, is anybody calling Iraq the great city, country of Iraq, the great? Ain't nobody calling Iraq great. So chill with all that. That is not the Babylon that they're talking about. Babylon the great is fallen, and it's become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. It's destroyed. Nothing but wickedness there. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. So again, this is talking about us physically coming out of Babylon and spiritually coming out, not being in the midst of her confusion, not supporting her confusion. And you can't help but support Babylon if you're in Babylon. Every time you spend money, you supporting Babylon. Every time you go to work, you supporting Babylon. Every time you're just dwelling somewhere, you're supporting Babylon. So you can't help it. Eventually, we got to come up out of here. But before we can come out in the spirit. Verse 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yah has remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she has rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, in the cup which she hath filled to her double. How much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she says in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. And that's the pride of Babylon. Hey, babe, the pride of Babylon. Thinking that ain't nobody gonna touch her, that she can put sanctions and do all kind of stuff. And just because she got control of all these other nations because they have made one consent, that she good. All she got to do is get with her people and we gonna knock them out the box and we good. Nah, it ain't gonna work like that. Verse 8, and again, it lets you know how quick these plagues coming. It's coming quick. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day. Death, mourning, and famine shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is YAH Elohim who judges her. So this destruction gonna be swift. In one day, all this stuff is gonna come about. So you ain't gonna have time to get prepared to pack up and go. It's gonna be a miracle if you still here at that time.
What's one day equate to?
One day, what do you mean? And biblically, one day to YAH is 1,000 years. So in one day, this place is gonna be destroyed. And the fact that they're showing one day here, letting you know this ain't gonna take 1,000 years to destroy this place, because they're letting you know it's swift. Verse 9, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. So it don't take 1,000 years for a nation to burn. If you're on a ship driving by and looking, floating by and looking, it ain't going to, if something is burning, has been burning for 1,000 years, that's not going to surprise you. You ain't going to be crying about that. So don't be misunderstood that this is going to be swift. So you ain't going to be able to just walk up out of here easy. You either get out here in advance, or it's going to be divine intervention for you to get up out of here. So if you want to depend on divine intervention, then you better be right with the Most High. If you're not depending on divine intervention, you better start making a way up out of here. Verse 10, standing afar off for the fear or her torment, saying, alas, alas, the great city, Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is your judgment come. So it's letting you know, not only a day, an hour. The final blow takes 1 hour or 1 moment. It's going to be quick. The final blow. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buys their merchandise anymore. So yeah, they crying for the money. They ain't crying for the people. People up out of there. The people that we care about and the loved ones and everybody going to their nations. But the merchants crying because they can't get rich off her no more. Verse 12. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and thyine wood and all the manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of most precious wood and brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil, fine flour, wheat, beasts, sheep, horses, chariots, and slaves and souls of men. And the fruits that your soul lusted after are departed from you. And all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from you, and you shall find them no more at all. So all that sex trafficking and child kidnappings and all that stuff and all the stuff that they have raped from the land of Africa and brought into the United States, all those things will be no more coming out of her. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of torment, weeping and wailing. Saying, alas, the great city was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour, so great riches is come to nothing. And every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by the sea, stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city wherein we were made rich, all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness, for 1 hour she has made desolate. So this is like the third time they said 1 hour. So they keep letting you know hour in Greek ain't necessarily the same as hour in English. It's more like a moment. How long that moment it is, we don't know, but they're stressing that it's going to be quick. It's going to be swift. Sounds nuclear almost. Rejoice over her, you heaven, and you holy apostles and prophets, for Yah has avenged you on her. So this place is being destroyed because of you. It's being destroyed because of what they did to you and your brothers and sisters. So how are you going to turn around and pray for these people and pray for a nation that's being destroyed from Yah destroying it? Ain't like somebody else going to come in here and destroy it of their own volition. No, Yah is sending these people to destroy it. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea. Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down and shall be found no more at all. And the voice of harpers and musicians and of pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in you. And no craftsman of whatsoever craft he be shall be found any more in you. And the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in you. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in you. And the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in you. For your merchants were the great men of the earth, for by their sorceries were all nations deceived. And in her was found the blood of the prophets and of saints and of all that was slain upon the earth. So that is the judgment of Babylon. That is what's coming your way. And again, this is why these are the prophecies that we read in Jeremiah chapter 51, that we read in Isaiah 13, Ezekiel 38. These are the prophecies. And Daniel chapter 2 talks about how these kings are set up and removed by Yah. And Daniel chapter 7, if you go in there, talks about the bear. And I want you to start looking at all these bear references to Russia. Then go back and look at Revelation chapter 7. Excuse me, Daniel chapter 7, about that second beast, the bear. So these are the prophecies that talk about Russia. The end game of Russia is to destroy the children of Israel so that we can't be that great nation that they come against, that they get all the other nations to pile up with them to come against us and be destroyed. So if they could cut us off from being a nation, and all those other nations that are taking crappy counsel with them can cut us off beforehand, then they can do what they want to do. They can create a new prophecy because the devil's in their ear getting them to do that. But prior to all that, the Medes, Gog and Magog, they will be the nation of people that will come and destroy modern day Babylon. This is why everybody's so afraid. But we shouldn't be afraid. We're the children of Israel. All of this is about us. We're the ones that got the script. We got the physical script in our hand. It's a movie playing right now. Everybody else waiting for the movie. We're the ones that got the script and understand what's actually in the script. Yeah, other people can read it, but they don't understand it. So again, we don't need to be afraid. We can calm down. We can relax, because at the end of the day, this is their judgment according to Genesis chapter 15 and verse 13 through 14. That's their judgment. We have to do our part. We have to be focused on what we're supposed to be doing, which is to prepare to enter into our land, to prepare for Mashiach to return. So Mashiach can prepare the world for Yah to take over. So that's our focus, not to be afraid of what Russia gonna do and all. They ain't gonna do nothing to us. It said, again, not one hair in your head is gonna be harmed. Not one of these little ones is gonna fall from your hand, Yahweh Shai's hand, except for the son of perdition. So unless if you the son of perdition, you the son of destruction, then worry. If not, let Yah be your fear, let him be your dread. And do what you need to do so you can be on your side of the prophecy. So again, these are prophecies. If we've said anything of truth, that's of the Most High Yah, praise Yah. If we've misinterpreted anything, that's strictly of us as man. So that's all we're going to do today. If anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and send us an email, or you can go ahead and type a comment. I don't see any questions in here, so we'll go ahead and close out. Yah's will, we will see you for Shabbat. And keep in mind, We are now in the month of March. We are about 2 weeks away, a little over 2 weeks away from our Hebrew New Year. So be an interesting year coming ahead. So that's all we're going to do today. Yah's will, we'll see you for Shabbat. Shalom.